Gamers, and I'm back with another video for you all today. This is going to be, I think, a little bit more of an informal video. A lot of my videos are informal anyway, but as you can see, I did not tailor the background. These are all my gig tickets. You may be able to spot some of them. Don't know if it'll be that in focus. Maybe I'll do a video talking through them all. I'm not sure. But today I am apologising yet again for the inconsistency. I have had a busy time of it, and today, as you've seen from the thumbnail, is a travel story. Yes, I have been to Paris over the last weekend from Friday to Sunday. Even though I was only there for a short time, I had such a nice time, and I just wanted to tell you guys all about it. I've done travel stories on this channel before, but this is with the new mic, new setup, so hopefully it's a little bit more of an enjoyable watch for you. So, my time in Paris was fantastic. I flew out from Edinburgh on Friday at about 1 p.m. It was 1 p.m. and then landed at about 3:30, got into Paris for 6 p.m. So I went to my hostel, which was nice enough. I personally hostels are not my favourite. I never sleep well in hostels, but it was only for a couple of nights. So I arrived at the hostel and then went out to meet my friend who lives in Paris. He is studying to be an actor, which is super cool. So he was at a play with his classmates. So I took myself out for dinner to this lovely vegan restaurant. I took a picture of my starter, but not of my main because I was so hungry. Here is a picture of the starter. It was like salmon. It was like full salmon with some stuff. I couldn't really remember. I was so hungry. I just wolfed it all down. Then I took myself for a couple of drinks, which was nice. Next to the theatre, and then I saw my friend come out of the theatre and run up the hill, and I was like, oh my god, I've not seen him in so long. It's been almost a year since I've seen him, so that was a class little moment. And then I met all of his classmates, who I didn't really speak to a lot of them. There was one that I spoke to. She was very lovely. She really made the effort, knowing that I was around people that I didn't speak their first language, and I don't think everyone spoke English either, which is fine. I don't expect them to speak English. They're in their home country, you can speak their language. But she was very accommodating towards me, and she was speaking to me a lot, which was nice. And met a bunch of cool people at that pub. Met a guy called Pierre, met a guy called Carole, who was Polish. Met these two other French girls. Pierre was buying me beer all night, so thank you to Pierre. Thanks Pierre for the beers. Absolute legend. So we were there for a while, and then some of Hugh's classmates left, but we had a few drinks to finish off, so we were finishing off, and then we ended up in Carole's flat. I'm definitely saying that wrong, so apologies. We ended up in his flat for a little bit, drinking some wine. That was nice. We didn't stay for long. Then we went to another pub, Chez Camille's, I believe it's called, Chez Camille's. That was really cool. We weren't there for long, just got a few takeaway pints, and then walked through the streets of Paris, early doors, which was nice. Bumped into these two other people. The guy was called Roma, and the girl, I didn't actually catch her name, but we were all just steaming. We were like, yeah, whatever, let's go for some shots. So we went for some shots, against some people's will, I must say. I was very tired, but we went for some shots at about 2:30 in the morning or something like that. Then went to get some food, which, I'm not gonna lie, out of all the food I had in Paris, this was the worst. It was like a kebab shop chippy that you'd find in Scotland, and the chips were just oy vey. The chips were absolutely dreadful, but I munched them down anyway because I was super hungry. And then I took the half-hour walk back to my accommodation with my friend who stays around the corner from my accommodation. It was such a good night. Not had a night like that in a while, where you're just like picking up stragglers left, right and centre. So I went back to the hostel, got some sleep, and came to Hughes. Hugh is my friend that I went to visit. Came to Hughes the next morning. He lives in this really small apartment. I'm telling you, when I say the apartments in Paris are small, they are small. Hugh's apartment is about 13 meters squared. It is so tiny. I didn't expect it to be that small. He said to me, oh, I can't really host you because my apartment isn't big enough. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, how small can an apartment really be though? When I got there, yes, it can be too small. We could barely fit in there when we were just chilling. It was tiny. But when I went in, he made me breakfast, got a fresh baguette. Well, in Paris, you've got to, right? So, got a fresh baguette, and then we went out and we were walking for hours. We walked so much. And these were the sights that we saw. So, we saw the... Oh, I don't want to butcher the name. The Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Paris. If that's wrong, I will put it here. But this is a picture of it. Really beautiful. I was taken away by it, and we walked up all these steps, and this was the view at the top. Absolutely stunning. It was a little bit overcast, but the view nonetheless was still absolutely breathtaking. That was great. And then we walked to this little village, got a coffee. It was cool. It was very typical Parisian. Like, there was a guy playing the accordion with a cat on his shoulder. It was just hilarious, and it just looked very Parisian. Here's a picture of one of the streets. It's not that spectacular, but just to give you a kind of an idea. Then we walked down and we saw the Pantheon, which is here. That was a monumental building. We did try to go inside, but unfortunately they were closed for the day. What else did we do? Where did we go? How can I forget? Before we saw the Pantheon, we went to the Eiffel Tower, of course, and I'll put a bunch of pictures up. Or I'll make a wee slideshow, who knows. So yeah, we saw the Eiffel Tower, which is always cool. I've seen it a couple of times, but it never fails to kind of amaze me. Just the sheer size of it is almost incomprehensible when you're looking at it. It doesn't really make sense. You know, a beautiful structure. Then we saw the Pantheon, and then we went into this church where they were having like a church service, which was mental. I was like, oh, let's go inside this church. The door's open, and they were having like full service, which was actually quite beautiful. It was nice to see. So we stayed in there for about 5 minutes, and then went back to Hugh's apartment. I had a massive nap because I was knackered. So we had a nap, and then we got the metro across town to go to a party full of media students, so like actors, actresses, playwrights, fashion students, and I had such a good time. Not all of them spoke English, so I had to whap out my French a lot of the time, which was so exciting. That was the one thing I was looking forward to in Paris, was being able to practice my French. But everyone there was so nice. I won't even go through the list of names. There was so many people, and they were all absolutely lovely. I had a really good time. And then we got a taxi back from the party. Oh, before I forget, the party was so Parisian. We were on the balconies. It was top floor. We were on like the balconies, just looking over the streets. It was like, oh, it was like a dream. It was so nice. Everyone was so lovely. And everyone was very welcoming and understanding. Like, my French wasn't the best, so when they could see I was struggling, they switched to English, which was nice of them. Then me and you got a taxi back. The streets in Paris, I thought the streets in Edinburgh were bad. The streets in Paris are mental. again, I took him out for breakfast for being such a good tour guide, and then got on the plane home. So my overall trip was absolutely fantastic. I saw many areas of Paris. Some were rough. I was staying in La Chapelle, which was a fairly, I would say, rough area of Paris, next to the Gare du Nord train station, which I think has a little bit of a reputation. But nevertheless, some beautiful areas that I visited also. The metro system is super efficient. Jesus. Edinburgh needs to take note. I mean, Edinburgh buses are fantastic, but the Paris metro is so convenient. It goes everywhere. And once you're in the metro station, you can stay in the metro station and get as many as you want for the price of one ticket. So that was one thing that stuck out to me. The other thing that stuck out to me was, I think Parisians have a stereotype of being a little bit rude. I've heard that from people who are from Paris, that they have a reputation for being a little bit rude. But the majority of people I met were actually really sound, really understanding of my language barrier, even though I was always trying. And yeah, they were all very friendly and very easy to talk to. So maybe I just missed every stereotypical rude Parisian in Paris while I was there. Most of the people were really nice. And that is about it. It was a short trip. Very short trip, but amazing trip. One of the best little short trips I've been. If you watched my Travel London video, you'll see that it was a lot better than that. Go and check that out if you haven't already. It's on my channel. Yeah, this trip went a whole lot better than that. I can tell you that for free. I will be returning. I got a lot of contact info from a lot of people, which means when I go back, I can just go out and see more people, which is very exciting. My next trip is to Berlin at the end of, middle to the end of February, with my rap collective to work with some producers over there, which will be super exciting. So there'll be another travel story soon. That video may be a little bit longer because we're going for 5 days. But yeah, that is my travel stories. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got any travel stories, please drop them in the comments. If you've been to Paris, drop your cool experiences there. I love to chat and communicate with you guys. And yeah, more content to come very, very soon.